Hello everybody, this is Chris Bird or Monkey Dude 1313, and this is a truly complete set of black and white Plasma Blast. I love this set. It's the third and final set of the Plasma series. You will not want to miss the full arts. Plasma full arts are incredible. However, before we get into that real quick, last Master Set Monday was Sun and Moon Cosmic Eclipse, the last of the tag team sets. Way too many cards in that set, but we got them all. So if you like tag teams or you like Sun Moon era cards, absolutely go check that out. Wishless Wednesday from last week was Boundaries Crossed. Only a few sets before this one, and we're only missing 3 cards. But none of them are the fancy hollows. So which ones are we missing? Why haven't we just finished the set so far? Well, you'll have to go back and check that out if you're interested. But let's get into Plasma Blast. So I have a few cards set aside here. I'll very quickly talk about Tool Drop Trubbish. Why is this useful? Who really cares? Well, the fact that I named the name of the attack before the Pokemon probably tells you it's part of a meta deck from the era. So we'll get into that when we get there. Next up, this Volcarona. This set, Plasma Blast, has a non-hollow Volcarona in it, but this is the deck exclusive Cracked Ice. Ooh, almost said the wrong word there. Cracked Ice deck exclusive. We don't collect these officially. We might eventually. We probably will eventually. But for now, since we're not officially collecting them, we just throw them in the front of the binder. Like so. And finally, this guy. I played with this guy at a tournament back when this set was legal. TDK was one of my favorite decks. I absolutely enjoyed it. And this is my card. I graded it. It got an 8. I'm keeping this forever. But how can a card that was played with get an 8? Crazy. Absolutely love it. But we'll get into that a little bit later. Plasma Blast. This set was cool. Love this set. Often overshadowed by Plasma Freeze and Plasma Storm. Plasma Freeze, of course, had the entire TDK engine in it with Kyurem, Deoxys, Thundurus, like the Deoxys I just showed you. And Plasma Storm had the Lugia. Lugia is incredible. That Lugia is beautiful. Lugia, Luigi. Luigi EX. Absolutely beautiful. But this set did not disappoint when it came to meta cards. This Excelgor, though, not one of them. If you played at the time, the name Excelgor had a little bit of PTSD associated. This guy was a pain in the butt. Not this one, though. Deck and cover. Ugh, shivers down my spine. Check out our video whenever we decide to make it on the deck and cover Excelgor. Boy, howdy, that card was a pain. But right next to it here, this Virizion EX was the basis for the main new deck. Well, one of the 2 main decks that came out of this set. So, Verdant Wind, each of your Pokemon that has any grass energy cards attached to it can't be affected by special conditions. Doesn't sound that great, but Hypnotoxic Laser existed. And Hypnotoxic Laser was used a lot. So, nice to be able to avoid that. And also Emerald Slash, solid setup attack. But who is this Virizion sitting up for? Well, let's flip the page here and find out. It certainly wasn't Lifesplosion Cradily. Next page, the very end of the grasses, we have Genesect EX. This Team Plasma Pokemon was the main attacker from that deck, and when we get to the A-Specs at the end of this set, you will see why. Red Signal, though, when you attach a Plasma Energy from your hand, you may switch one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. This was the era of Lysander and Pokemon Catcher. And so, those cards, absolutely powerful. And in this one, you would get 4 times per game, in theory, to attach your Plasma Energy and get a free one of those. How can that not be good? But we'll get to the full art version of this when we get there. This deck was absolutely beautiful. Megalo Cannon splits, throwing a little bit of damage out to the opponent's benched. And then, of course, Lysandering them up for free kills later. Nice. Or, I guess, red signaling them up for free kills later. Alright, so this set also had a reprint of Deluge Blastoise. We talked about Deluge Blastoise in the Boundaries Cross video last week, so it really needs no extra introduction, but if you know the name Rain Dance, you don't need really anything else about this Pokemon. This is Rain Dance, but modern 2012. I guess 2026 or 5 is not really modern, but 2012, there you go. Deluge Blastoise. Very, very powerful card. So, we're just going to quickly flip through some of these more uncommons and hollows in here, and then when we get to the fancy shiny stuff, we will take a look. Kyurem EX, beautiful card. Sigilyph, though, everyone's favorite Sigilyph. Who doesn't love Sigilyph, right? I think everyone likes Sigilyph more than Kyurem. That's a fact, right? I mean, this is just a silly legendary, and this is a weird unknown bird? Question mark. But anyway, the reason I joke about it and bring this up is this ability Toolbox. This Pokemon may have up to 4 Pokemon tools attached to it. So why is that valuable? Well, I will bring your attention back to Trubbish. Tool Drop. Does 20 damage for each Pokemon tool card attached to Pokemon in play, both yours and your opponent's. So you run a deck with a ton of tools, and since all tools are free to play for your turn, there's not like a 1 per turn limit or whatever, you can dump a ton of tools onto Sigilyph, and then you can use a 2 energy tool drop to absolutely destroy your opponents. This was by far the most fun and least consistent deck of the era, in my opinion. Absolutely loved it. Huge shout out to Trubbish. Absolutely love it. And this was also in the era where Garbatoxin was in existence and in effect. You could not run that in this deck because you would turn off your own toolbox. But absolutely love Toolbox Sigilyph. Okay, so we'll keep on going. This was not the Dynamotor Electric, by the way. This was just a standard electric. This Jirachi. I wouldn't say meta-defining, but I would say an auto-include in many, many decks for consistency reasons. Stellar Guidance. When you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench, you may search your deck for a supporter card and put it into your hand. This means Ultra Ball can search your deck for a supporter card. And who doesn't love an Ultra Ball start, right? So this was a massive consistency boost for a lot of decks. Similar to how Skyla worked for pulling out specific items, this pulled out specific supporters, and Ultra Ball and Jirachi do not count as your supporter for a turn, so turn 1, dead draw with no supporter. If you got an Ultra Ball or you drew your Jirachi, you're good. Very positive card, very powerful, absolutely love it. On a little bit of a cuter note, this we call Brick Dower. And why do we call it that? Well, every time we opened this guy from a pack, it looked like he was trying to eat a brick, even though that's more just a perspective thing with the top of that building. Neat. Silly, silly. But Plasma from this era, you can see all this ice and stuff here. The Plasma Freeze set came out before this one, and they carried on a lot of like the Plasma Freeze attributes onto arts from these sets. So you're going to see a lot of cards with like seemingly unexplained ice themes to them, and this is a good example. Okay, I'm not going to pull it out. Golurk has always had the funkiest attack names. This guy has Iron Fist of Justice, which I guess makes sense. You know, he's a big kind of golem-y guy. He's going to punch stuff with his giant fists. Cool. But go look at the attack names of Golurk if you would like. The Cerebi card decks for Golurk. Just go and take a nice little wander through the attack names. I think you'll be amused with what you find there. Okay, let's keep on going. I'm trying to speed this up a little bit, make sure we get to the shiny stuff. We got Dialga Palkia here. Nice cards. We got some neat Dragon Hollows here. Not every pack came with a holo at that time. Surprise, surprise. So pulling out these kinds of cards was actually quite nice. They were considered a hit, if you could say that. But unfortunately, none of these dragons were really played all that much. There was a Garchomp at the time from a previous set that really stole the show in terms of non-EX dragon types. Alrighty. So this deck features Caitlyn and Iris. We're about to do the grand reveal from the set, or at least the first one, where we get to see the ace specs and 4 of the full art cards. So, something interesting, or I should say, some interesting cards to point out. Silver Bangle, Reversal Trigger, solid cards, Rare Candy always good, Ultra Ball always good. Just keep reprinting Pokemon Catcher, Rare Candy, and Ultra Ball forever, and you have the entire Pokemon meta in a nutshell. Oh, and Juniper, how could I pass on Juniper? Discard, draw 7. We've had that since base set, and it's always worked out, right, guys? But let's say these ace specs. G Booster. This is what I was talking about earlier when we were talking about the Genesect Virizion deck. 3 energies. This tool card counted as an extra attack for your Genesect, to the point where people would actually run a card called Tool Reversal to pull tools back into your hand so you could reuse this. 3 energies, 200 damage, which as you'll see, one-shots basically everything in the format at the time. Discard 2 energies attached to your Pokemon, and it's not affected by anything on your opponent's Pokemon. So G-Booster was a way to make your Genesect one-hit kill most things, and with Tool Reversal and Virizion's Energy Acceleration, this was actually very, very solid at the time. One of the main parts of Virizion Genesect. Not going to pull out the G-Scope Master Ball and Scoop Up Cyclone, but They do what they say on the tin, really. This G-Scope just was hugely underrepresented when G-Booster existed. Master Ball searches your deck for a Pokemon and puts it into your hand, but when you have Ultra Ball out, or you're going to waste your Ace Spec slot on Master Ball, just put it on Computer Search. Computer Search is probably the best Ace Spec to ever have existed. And Scoop Up Cyclone is just a free Super Scoop Up. You don't have to roll a coin, you just throw all the Pokemon back into your hand, including all the cards. Solid. Not a bad card, but definitely overshadowed by some of the other Ace Specs. Okay, so I've been talking really fast. Let's get into the full arts. Alright, so Virizion. From Virizion Genesect, like I was saying before, attacks and ability are quite nice. But I'd like to take a moment to really appreciate the full arts from this set. You can see that I got a little bit of a dent on this guy, but the card here is beautiful. I really appreciate the Gen 5 full arts, because they were kind of the equivalent of today's like SIRs in terms of rarity. Absolutely love it. And I don't mean rarity as in how often you would pull them. I mean more that these were one of the two main shinies that you search for when you're pulling packs. Absolutely love it. I really like the thick, deep textures on these guys. Alright, and arguably one of the coolest cards in this entire set, the full art Genesect EX Team Plasma. This art speaks to me. I don't really like Genesect that much as a Pokemon. It feels kinda boring and robotic, but this card just somehow works for me. I really like this card a lot. I like the posing. I really like the huge plasma badge here. This card just works. Plus, on all of the plasma full arts, you have the full blue textured border instead of the standard like gray border from these other guys. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right, next up, Jirachi EX. We pulled two of these back in the day, and we are quite happy about it. It's one of the most valuable cards from the set. But like I was mentioning before with the Stellar Guidance, this guy was played in basically every deck. Very solid. Usually as a one-off, though. It's like you would rather Ultra Ball to search for this or just draw it in your opening hand than you would like to have 3 of them for whatever reason. But absolutely love it. Full art Jirachi here. Looks amazing. Alright, next up we have a pair. We have the Team Plasma Dialga EX. I did not pull out the half art for these guys earlier because, frankly, the art's not all that exciting. But on these ones, the full art ones, the art is very nice. And when you hold this guy up next to the Palkia, it really feels like a display piece. And for that reason, I'm not going to put it back in the binder just yet. I am going to do a quick final reveal for the set, and then we can look at both Palkia and Dialga together. Alright, boom. There is the last 6 shiny cards for the set. You'll see that the last full art Pokemon in question is the Palkia EX full art, again with the Plasma Blast, was I saying Plasma Blast before? Team Plasma logo back there. Quite nice. Again, we pulled both of these back in the day, but these cards just look so good next to each other. And honestly, whenever you put any combination of the Team Plasma full arts next to each other, they look very nice. They all look very coherent because of the blue theming, and, you know, with all of the logos in the back, they just look great. So, some of my favorite cards from this set, the Dialga and Palkia EX. Alrighty. This Iris. We did not pull this back in the day. We had to pick this one up over the last year. We got this from Minions TCG as part of a trade-in. We actually traded in a bunch of our own full art trainers from the past to get this guy. And this card, it's like $200 or something right now. It's kind of crazy. Beautiful. Love this card. It was not super playable at the time, but that's okay. You know, really the goal of picking this up was, you know, finish the set, find another beautiful card. Love it. Iris is not a character that a lot of people know these days, but that's okay. That is definitely okay. All right, so into the secret rares. Execute. If you were playing at the time, this Execute. Wow. So, before I say why, I'm going to let you guess. Propagation. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in your discard pile, you may put it into your hand. Okay, so 30 HP, basic Pokemon, secret rare. Why would they do this? Well, this meant that anytime you needed to discard a card from your hand, you could choose to not discard a card from your hand instead. Meaning if you have an Execute in your discard pile, pull it back into your hand, discard this instead. and you reset the once during your turn when you pull it back in your hand, so you can use it effectively as many times as you like, as far as I remember. Ultra Balls, now you only have to discard one. Other cards, Computer Search, you only have to discard one. Absolutely beautiful card. Sometimes, of course, you would want to discard stuff in your hand, and so you would choose to discard something else and not pull this guy back, but really this card was a 1 to 2 of in a lot of decks, and it just really helped you skirt around the discard cost. And so when you're in those tricky situations where you have an Ultra Ball and 2 other cards in your hand, you really wished you could keep one, but you need to search for that Jirachi to get your supporter. Now you can get rid of this Execute instead. Beautiful. Plus, similar to the other black and white shinies, you have the type symbol textured on the bottom there. Absolutely love that. If you look at the back of this card, though, we did not get the texture bleed version of this Execute. That is okay. Alrighty, continuing on with the shiny stuff from this set, we have Virizion. Double Draw, it's okay. Leaf Wallop, not really used. This card made its way into some decks for fun, but, I don't think the Double Draw was really all that worth it at the time. But still, not bad, not bad. Nice, shiny card, secret rare, and of course it had the textured type symbol down there. All right, Dusk Noir. This card is actually badass. Not only is the psychic symbol with the jiggity, jaggedy texture in there very cool, but also Dusk Noir itself is a very cool Pokemon. As often as you like during your turn, you may move 1 damage counter from one of your opponent's Pokemon to another of your opponent's Pokemon. Where have I heard effects like that before? Definitely not anything annoying in the modern TCG, right guys? Alright, and lastly, the last of the shiny shinies, Rare Candy. Back at this time, Stage 2 Pokemon were played a lot, and Rare Candy used a lot. So this card was very good, and a lot of people bought multiple of these to bling out their deck. Definitely not me, though. I was definitely not the kind of person to do that. I actually totally was. So back at the day, I was in college. I should not have been spending extra money on Pokemon, but here I was buying 4 no-hat lilies on TCG Player to bling out my decks. Turns out not a bad call long run. Although when you buy 4 gold trainer mails for like $30 each or something, and now they're worth like 6, the other side of the coin is revealed. Okay, so last thing. I never really got into this Deoxys. It's not part of the set, but it is Team Plasma, and it's just my personal twist on how I recall the Plasma Blast set. So I wanted to get into that just a little bit. I played TDK. I loved TDK. I sometimes played with and without Lugia, but I absolutely loved this deck. This card was actually used in the Genesect Virizion deck that I had mentioned earlier. But I went to a major tournament in this. I did decently well. I think I top 32. I'm not positive. But this was so long ago, and really the feature of this card was the memories of this deck and this era was the featured memories around it, rather than any specific tournament placing. The night before the tournament that I played this deck in, or the biggest tournament I played this deck in, my girlfriend and I spent 5 hours, driving to every single Target and Walmart within an hour radius of the school I was going to try and find the promo Landorus non-EX, because that card really helped you counter other decks. We finally found it, and it was a lot of fun on its own. We spent so much gas and we spent so much time, but imagine having a date night where instead of sitting at home and watching a movie or going out to dinner or whatever, you're actually just driving to every Target and Walmart you can find looking for a specific promo blister pack because you wanted to play it in a deck the next day. It was a lot of fun. Absolutely great memories. And this card helps remind me of that, and that's part of why I wanted to get this card memorialized and slabbed so that I can keep this in my collection forever. Okay, so with that little aside, we're about 20 minutes in. It's not a master set without the reverses. Please enjoy your bulk, guys. What I wanted to show real quick was the 2 types of reverses that were available in this set. The first one is the Plasma reverses, which had the full mirror hollow on them. And then the other one was the type symbol explosion. Don't really know how to describe this otherwise, but you can see there on the bottom. They just kind of layered a bunch of the grass symbols together in this card and called it a reverse pattern. Works for me. I am not upset about this. So let's flip through the reverses, take a nice little look, prove that we have the true master set from Plasma Blast, and then we can move on to another video. Absolutely beautiful cards. Toolbox. Shout out to my homie Toolbox Sigilif. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Brick Tower. Nice. Very cool cards. Very cool. The reverse pattern on the non-plasma cards gets a little bit too busy for my taste, but that's okay. Not a big deal, not a big deal. So with this last flip, that is the end of the plasma set, Plasma Energy. The very last card we needed to finish this set, or the second to last card, was this Plasma Energy reverse, and the first one we needed to finish the set was the Iris full art, like I had mentioned before. So, which card from this set is your favorite? Which of the plasma cards do you like the best? Not just from this set, but in general. Did you play this set? I would love to hear your experience with Plasma Blast or just the plasma sets in general in the comments below. Is there a set you'd like to see featured in a Master Set Monday or a Wishlist Wednesday? Or even a type of card you'd like to see featured in a Featured Friday? Please let me know in response to the pinned comment below. I would absolutely love to hear what you guys are interested in seeing. So, thank all you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.